Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Total Ramblings. I thought it might be fun to show everybody the equipment that I use to create this vlog, which is why I'm currently filming this on my phone, because it's going to involve me showing you the bag that I carry with me every day that contains all of my vlogging equipment, or at least the stuff that I find most useful. In the back of my car, in addition to what I loosely call my survival kit, I also have a box full of extra accessories, which we'll also go through. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to kind of show the sort of stuff that I carry, the equipment that I use, the cameras that I use, because, you know, maybe you'll be interested. Who knows? So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so this is my everyday carry vlogging bag. Yes, I probably carry too much stuff, but basically this is what I take with me everywhere. It's obviously got heavier over time. So here is camera number one. This is my Osmo Pocket 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of my cameras in detail with you. So that's my main camera. This is an extendable battery pack and tripod for that camera. I also have an Insta360 X4, and we'll look at that in some detail later. Also in this bag, I have my DJI Action 4, which has an awful lot of accessories that we will go through. In the front pocket here, in the front pocket here, these are my sort of immediate microphones that I will show you in just a sec. They're like the two main ones that I use. But also, for reasons that I will go into, we have another two microphones and a receiver in this bag here. We also have spare batteries here for the Action 4. And we have one spare battery for the Insta360. We have one more camera. That is my body cam. Now, this kind of gets used in specific circumstances, usually when I'm flying my drone. And because I've seen other YouTubers kind of getting hassle when they fly drones, I kind of tend to wear it. We also have my Apple AirPods. Excuse me. These are the Pro ones with a special locking case. And then in the back of this bag, and again, I'll go into this in some more detail. This is a mount that relates to the Insta360 X4. We have an extendable selfie stick that I can mount the Action 4 camera onto. This is a bullet time stick for the Insta360 X4. This is an invisible selfie stick that goes with the bullet time stick, but also for the Insta360 X4. We have a miniature tripod here for the Action 4. And the last thing in this bag is a tripod for the Insta360. I'm just going to get all these set up and just show you kind of how I use them, each one, or how I use them all sort of in their base configuration, if you like. So I'm going to put this bag away, and then we're going to go through each camera and I'm going to show you the day-to-day accessories that I find the most useful. So this is kind of my sort of starting base configuration, if you like, for each of these cameras. Again, I will be going through this in some information, in some detail. So we've got the DJI Pocket 3, the Insta360 X4 and the Action 4 each kind of have their own sort of dedicated tripod, if you like. This means that I can, if necessary, use all three simultaneously in a sort of standing propped up configuration to film things from multiple angles. And in fact, I have done that once with one of my Lego builds. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to go through each camera now individually and show you what each one gets used for specifically when I do these vlogs, and the accessories that I'm able to use with each one as well. Okay, so my main camera, and the first one I bought specifically for vlogging, was the DJI Pocket 3. Now this is an absolutely fantastic little camera. It's very small, very versatile. As you can see in its base configuration, it goes into a pocket. So it has this protective case. Now you can kind of store spare filters in here, and I do have the filters, but they live in the kind of the box that lives in the back of the car. And the reason being is that one of them fell out of here once and I nearly lost it, and don't want to do that again. In fact, I did lose one, had to get a replacement, then I found the original one. But this box, this kind of container can be quite useful. You are able to mount a microphone on there, or hold a microphone on there if you want to, but I don't tend to do that. I tend to clip a microphone to me. Now in its base configuration, you just simply flip the screen to turn it on. I've got it so that you can do like a triple press to basically turn the gimbal around. You can control the gimbal by hand. If you press the screen here, you can zoom in by hand. I know I always struggle to get this right, I'll be honest with you. I wish there was like a dedicated zoom button, but it's okay. But you might sometimes see me struggling to change it from gimbal to zoom, but it's not really an issue. This is undoubtedly the camera that you'll be seeing in most of my vlogs getting used. You can flip it to sort of portrait mode where it switches to 3K resolution. This is not intended to be a review of this camera. I'm just kind of showing you the basic functions of some of the things that it does. Now, what I do though, more often than not, is I do have quite large hands, and also I get super paranoid about battery life, right? So there is, I bought the Creator Combo Pack, I believe, and this is an extra battery which you can plug into the bottom, which immediately gives you a bit more grip, a bit more length to handle the thing. And then also I have this separate tripod. When you plug in the extra battery, you do benefit from the use of this standard sort of tripod screw attachment. So I tend to use this as my base function for this camera. And this tends to kind of live in my bag as one unit, and I'll charge the whole thing as one unit. And that is essentially, that is my main camera. So this one, as you can see, you know, you could quite easily just do vlogging with this, and I did for a short while. But I then decided that I kind of wanted a little bit more sort of flexibility. What you will notice is that with this standard tripod attachment, any of the tripods that I'm going to sort of go on and show you, I am in fact able to, if they've got a screw attachment, I can screw them in. I also have an attachment that would allow me to sort of kind of use the GoPro finger style sort of attachment. So for example here, where you've got the standard sort of GoPro finger sort of attachment, you can essentially put this into a sleeve, and then you could use it to mount onto here. I've never actually done that, although I do have the sleeve, and I will be showing you that later when we look in the box of doom. But essentially, the whole point is that every single one of my cameras are able to be used with all of the equipment that I've kind of accumulated over the last few months. My next camera, and probably the most versatile of all of my cameras, is this DJI Action 4. Now I do actually have mine mounted in a protective cage. I'm all about protection and stuff. So basically, you know, we have, let me just turn this off a sec. I've got protective film on the screen here, on this screen, on the main lens here. you are able to take this lens off, but then you lose the waterproof nature. Now, the reason I bought this waterproofing, so the camera I'm currently filming this on is the one that you were just looking at, the DJI Pocket 3. It is not in any way waterproof. I don't even like using it in the rain. And what happened was, we're having a particularly wet year here in the UK, it's 2024, and I was getting fed up that I couldn't do vlogging, I couldn't walk outside. So I bought this, which is the DJI Action 4. So we have a slide up battery compartment, and there's the removable battery. SD card lives in there. And as you will have seen earlier, I also carry spare batteries. And so we have battery number 3, battery number 1, spare SD cards. This lives in my bag. I will kind of rotate the batteries around every now and then so they all get used. But you'll notice that there are these sort of red lines here. As long as you can't see red, then this is waterproof up to, I think, 10 meters. Not that I should be going 10 meters, but essentially I can use this in the rain. I can mount this on top of my car, and indeed have done so. Now, it does have like a standard sort of magnetic attachment at the bottom. And this is kind of where we're able to clip in accessories such as this tripod. Okay, so we can open up the tripod legs, we extend the tripod, and that is now mounted on a tripod. And I find this is my, as I say, this is my most versatile camera, and the one that will definitely gets used kind of second best, not second best, but second most, because basically, and you'll see when I open the box of doom, I have invested in loads of these magnetic adapters. So I can essentially mount this camera onto pretty much anything. There is one thing that I forgot in my bag that I forgot to get out and show you, that is also part of my everyday carry, and that's this. Now this actually goes around my neck. I'm able to unclip it here, so I can loop it around my neck. I can clip it in like so, and you'll see here I've got one of these small rig magnetic mounts, and I can simply attach the DJI Action 4 camera onto there, and it's held in place with these teeth here, and it's held in place magnetically. It's not coming off. Now when we look at the box of doom, you will see that I have a lot of these, and I am able essentially to mount this camera pretty much anywhere. In my car, for example, which I won't show you now because it's in the car, in the center of my dashboard, I have like a double one of these. I've got one facing towards me, and I've got one facing towards the road, so that I'm essentially able to have this camera recording me in the car, or have it slightly higher recording the road in the car. And you'll see that I've got a lot of these. Now, in addition to that, again, we're all about protection. This thing lives permanently inside this protective cage, so that if I drop this, and I have dropped it, the camera itself is never going to be damaged. The cage is there to take the damage. In addition, the cage offers me an additional piece of flexibility, in that not only are we able to mount the camera like that, but we can also mount it in sort of portrait mode. So that adds something there as well. It does mean that if I want to change the battery or the SIM card, or not the SIM card, or the SD card, that I have to take the cage off, and that's not really a problem. But I am able to actually charge it from here directly. So that's camera number 2. That's a dead handy camera. I really like it. My third camera, and my most recent addition, I've had this about a month now, is the Insta360 X4. Now, let me just show you in its base configuration. This is the camera, although I do have these premium lens guards on here. They just kind of screw on and clip on. I'm not going to take them off and show you because it's a bit of a pain. But as you will have seen in a previous video, this thing blew over. It was stood on a really extendable selfie stick once, and it blew over and cracked one of the standard lens guards. If I didn't have a lens guard on, this would be buggered because there's nothing protecting the main lenses inside there. I replaced them with premium lens guards, which is something I was going to buy anyway, but then I had an excuse to do it. This is obviously a 360-degree camera, okay? We'll just turn it on like so. You can get a lot of funky effects out of this. There's a door there. It's also waterproof. It's waterproof as long as these doors are closed. And as you can see, we've got it in video mode. We're able essentially to look in any direction. So I can take sort of panoramic photos. I could mount this on top of a car or on top of my head, for example. And don't worry about the gun. It's not real. It's a replica. It doesn't fire anything. But basically, I could mount this on top of something, and then I can reframe the picture whilst I'm editing. Okay. So essentially, that's kind of the benefit of this particular camera. So let's say I'm going to an event or a show or something like that. I don't have to worry about framing. I can do it afterwards. So quite powerful. Now, as you will have seen, it does live in a protective cage. So earlier on, I just mentioned that this thing blew over once, and I'm sure it would have been fine. But the protective cage took a couple of dings, took the damage. That's what it's for, okay? That's what the cage is for. That's what the lens protectors are for. So I do like to look after my equipment. I do like to try and make sure it is protected. One other thing, just pull that out there. There's a door here. You open these two latches and the battery pops out. And I do have, I have one spare battery that I keep in here. Everything is always kept sort of fully charged. And we've even got a spare 512 SIM card in there, okay? Not that I have ever run out of space, and I tend to format quite regularly. So that lives in there. You make sure it's clicked. Again, as long as you can't see any red, then you know that that is fully waterproof. Up to, I want to say 18 meters. Maybe I've got that the wrong way around. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, so that is the my sort of tertiary camera, if you like. We'll have, and also when it lives in my bag, I also have this rubber thing on here to also protect it and the lenses. The last camera, the cheapest camera, not disposable, but the most disposable, I suppose. I've never actually extracted any footage from this, but basically I tend to clip it to myself if I'm out flying the drone or if I'm out in public sometimes, and basically I will record everything that happens. So in case anybody decides to pick a fight with me or try and claim that I'm not allowed to fly my drone or I don't own the airspace, etc., which I've seen lots of YouTubers having problems with that kind of thing, I will mount this to myself. I've never, as I say, I've never taken the footage off of it. It's basically disposable footage. It's there as an insurance policy, essentially. So next we're going to talk about microphones, and I'm going to show you exactly what I use in terms of microphone equipment. So when it comes to microphones, this is kind of my immediate go-to microphone pouch, and I'll tell you why. So in here we have two DJI Mic 2 microphones. This black one, helpfully labelled number 1. This is the one that will pair with the camera that you are watching footage from right now. We have a removable muffler there, wind thingamy-bob, can't remember the exact name of it. They call it a dead cat. And I also have another one in here, which is a white one. Now, it's quite useful having one that's different colour. This one is paired with the DJI Action 4. Okay, so you may notice sometimes, observant people may notice, if I am wearing a white microphone in a Piece 2 camera, it's because it's this camera that's recording me. If I'm wearing a black microphone in a Piece 2 camera, it's this camera that's recording me. There's magnetic thing on here, so you can just clip it to clothing, or I just tend to use that. Now, in addition to that, in this bag, I have two DJI lavalier mics, okay? So essentially, if I don't want to be quite so obtrusive or quite so visible with my microphones, we will plug this onto, say, a lapel, maybe run the wires inside clothing, and then this can plug straight into here. Obviously, we don't get as much of a sort of wind noise reduction or protection because we don't have the huge dead cat on there, so probably more suitable for use inside. I bought these lavalier mics. I haven't used them very much, but I'm all about having options. I like to have options. So they live in here, and in fact there's actually two of them in here. So I essentially, if I was, say, doing an interview with somebody, I could have us both wired up with lavalier mics. And that is my primary microphone setup, with these microphones pre-paired to these specific cameras. Why then do I also have more microphones? Well, in here we have a completely independent set of microphones. This is a DJI receiver with two more microphones. In this box here, we have more of the dead cats, one for each of the cameras, and we also have a whole host of accessories. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly why I've got this. This particular receiver, if you remove the panel at the back, what you're able to do is you're able to say, this is an iPhone lightning connection. You can push that in there. Now I could now attach this to the bottom of my phone, and I could have these two microphones feeding into the receiver, and I could do an interview or footage or whatever it was that way. There's an equivalent device which has got a USB-C connection, so this would plug into, say, a laptop or an iPad, anything with a USB-C connection, and I can do exactly the same thing. Okay, so this is kind of like a more flexible setup, but I'll show you where this comes into where this comes particularly handy, and that is with the Insta360 X4. So we just remove these cables. We always have lots of cables and things. Now, what I'm about to do will essentially prevent the X4 from being used in any sort of waterproof capacity, because I'm going to have to open one of the doors. So we open this door here, which is the door with the charging port in. I'll get rid of this rubbery thing here. Okay, that door is now open. So this camera is now no longer waterproof because this door is open. This door is designed to be removed. It can come off. And what we have here is a microphone adapter. And what we're able to do is we can plug that straight in, don't have to remove the cage, and we can take our receiver, making sure that we've got the sockets at the correct end. And what we're able to do is, taking this very short cable, is we can plug it in here and we can plug it in there, and we make sure that this cable is kind of parallel with the stitch line, as it's called. So basically this camera, in camera and in software, anything that is alongside the edge, such as a selfie stick, tripod or whatever, or indeed these cables, they're not seen by these lenses. It's called the stitch line. And now we've got essentially the ability to now connect both of these microphones simultaneously to the Insta360, and you'll see here we're actually getting a microphone output, or input I should say, and bear with me, I'll just turn that on. and then, sorry, we also get an input on the receiver as well. So this now gives us more flexibility. So again, I could mount this camera on top of a car, and I could be wearing this microphone inside the car, and I could record footage with decent audio. You can Bluetooth these directly to this camera, but you don't get the output showing. So this is kind of like the most optimum sort of, if you like, professional setup, for want of a better word. But as I say, it does remove this sort of the ability to make this waterproof. Now, here's something I forgot to show earlier. So this is a dedicated tripod for the Insta360 X4. And again, this is kind of like my sort of go-to kind of tripod for this particular device. But I don't know whether this is... So this tripod, you can obviously set this up, but also it's extendable. So let me just show the camera. So there is the Insta360 X4 tripod on an extendable stick. So that's particularly good for, and this is not exactly the setup. This is kind of the setup I did the other day on the motorway bridge recording the Doctor Who chapter video. I'll show you what I was actually using, but it blew over essentially. Obviously a potential downfall there, but yeah, so this is why each device kind of has its own dedicated tripod. And with the standard screw attachment there, I could also use this tripod for attaching the camera that we're currently using, the Pocket 3. But because the tripod is within the stitch line, you won't see it in the video. You will see the feet of the tripod, but you won't see the stick. So it has an invisible selfie stick kind of function. Let me just unscrew this. So that's kind of my preferred setup for the Insta360 X4. You'll have already seen, excuse me one sec, you'll have already seen that we do have a regular invisible selfie stick, and that's this one here. That extends quite a distance, so this is kind of the one that it sort of comes with, if you like. And again, that selfie stick would be completely invisible in any footage that we use. I know I've diverged from microphones somewhat. We also have this bullet time handle. So what we're able to do is this Insta360 selfie stick we can screw onto here. You would attach the camera onto here and you would extend it the full length, and you unlock this by screwing it, and it becomes mobile. And then you would spin this around your head like a massive football rattle, and that's how you get your bullet time effect. So yeah, anyway, this started off as a discussion about microphones. So as you can see, with the exception of the body cam, which I'm not overly fussed about anyway, because you know it's there as sort of, it's recording footage immediately around me, people interacting with me, things that are around me, and you know I'm not filming off in the distance, I'm not doing a piece to camera with this or anything like that. With the exception of that camera, I'm able to attach microphones to any of my cameras. I also kind of have like a hot shoe adapter, so if I didn't want to use the cage, for example, I would be able essentially to just kind of, which way around does it go? Sorry. I would essentially be able to attach a tripod straight in there and attach the transmitter to the back of this. Oops. He said the transmitter. Where have I put the transmitter? I've got to find it now. Here it is. Right. So we can take this little door off the back of the transmitter, and this is designed especially to hold the transmitter. So what we would do is we would slide that in there. There's a nice click, and then without the cage, because the cage has built-in sort of shoe adapters, without the cage we also have the option of doing that as well. So that's just to kind of give me more flexibility should I need it. And was that everything I wanted to do to talk about microphones? I think it probably was, and we've even gone straight into another topic. So we have 4 microphones in total, but each of them has their own use. And because this equipment is like really small and relatively light, as you saw, it all fits into that one bag. So I can carry this stuff around all the time. It's not a problem. There's one other thing I want to show you with this particular camera. Now you'll remember that the Action Cam 4 can mount onto these magnetic attachments. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be super cool if we could, because I've got so many of these magnetic attachments to attach the Action 4 camera on, I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was an adapter for the Insta360? And you know what? There is. I've got 2 of them. So this one is for use without the cage. And what you'll notice is on the bottom of the X4, there's just a standard tripod screw on its own, right? What I can do is I can screw this adapter onto the bottom here. And this gives me a couple of options. Just wait while I tighten this up. It's designed for this. It fits nicely on there. I haven't quite screwed up all the way. So the first option is that I can use the GoPro finger style attachment. Okay, so I could mount this into any sort of standard GoPro kind of mount. So again, just to remind you, this is a DJI Action 4 extendable stick. That okay, I can put these fingers into the receiving fingers on here and basically screw that into place. So that will be attached to any sort of GoPro kind of standard. But also, in addition, it keeps the tripod screw. All right, so we've got double functions. We haven't lost any functionality by adding that to the bottom of this camera. But also, we're actually now able to take a DJI, this is the tripod that goes with the Action 4, okay? And we can clip this straight in magnetically. I mean, it's a little bit loose because I haven't screwed it on properly, but you get the idea, right? So essentially, any device that I have attached one of these to, and I've got a lot of them, with this adapter, I can now attach this camera. Now, there's another way of doing it as well, and let me just unscrew this particular one, because, as I've already explained, I'm all about keeping my equipment protected, right? So, we're going to put it back in its protective cage. We're going to slam that shut. Now, this particular Ulanzi adapter won't fit on with the cage. It's designed just for the bottom of the camera itself, okay? We have another one here. Okay, this one has a flat top and we can use the same screw, and we're going to screw this into the cage. And I'll be honest with you, I will probably leave this on permanently. We still have tripod screw attachment, so we are still able to just attach this to a tripod as it was designed. We still have these fingers here, so we can attach this to any GoPro style attachment that can receive these fingers. If I can just get them open at the same time. It's a bit tricky whilst also trying to do it on camera. Okay, and also we close those down. Where have I put it? We can still attach this to a DJI mount. So now we have maximum flexibility, maximum cross compatibility, and I can even attach the microphones and everything, and I can do all of this all at the same time. So that's incredibly versatile. That makes that piece of equipment incredibly versatile. Okay, so I've shown you everything that's in the bag of doom. There's one other thing that I've got here that I want to show you, and and it is this. This is the extended selfie stick with a tripod. Now, here's the thing. So the tripod is super versatile because each leg obviously opens up and is extendable. But this extends to at least 3 meters. And this is the thing that I used when I did my 24-hour time lapse. Okay, so I probably can't put it up all the way, but it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different extension points, and this will go up very, very, very high. Incredibly high, probably higher than my ceiling will allow. Yeah, I've hit the ceiling there. But the Insta360 X4 will attach directly to this. Now, I didn't have it up all the way the other day. When I was filming on the motorway bridge, there was a gust of wind as a truck went by and it kind of blew over. So just something to look out for. But this is the extended selfie stick. It's literally too big to go in the bag. Even if I was to unscrew the tripod, which is obviously an extra stable tripod, even if I was to unscrew that, it's just too big. But it's really nice piece of equipment. This cost me £109, and Liz had a go at me for spending it and said I should show some restraint. But I have to say, it's really, really, really handy, and it tends to live in the house as opposed to in the box of doom that I'm going to show you. Especially with this extra stable tripod. Like I say, I did my 32-hour time lapse video with my Insta360 X4, and it stayed on that the whole time. It was brilliant. It was really cool. So yeah, gone off on a little bit of a tangent, but this is why we have all these microphones. They're all useful for something, and they all give me sort of maximum flexibility. Now, that's all the cameras. That's all the equipment I carry with me on a daily basis. Obviously, I also have cleaning cloths and things. Keeping this clean is a bugger, by the way. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and get the box of doom, and I'm going to show you the sort of stuff that I also cart around in the back of my car. Right, and for the final part of this video, this is the box of doom. Now, I actually have 2 boxes of doom in the back of my car. So in the back of my car, I've got like what I call my survival kit. There's water in there, there's first aid kit. I carry, so in my car, I carry stabilized binoculars, night vision binoculars, first aid kit, spare clothes, blankets, Kendall mint cake, water, tyre, an electric tyre pump, all sorts of stuff for the car. And there's 2 of these boxes as well. Now, one of them contains drone related stuff. So there's like a drone landing pad and the things to fix it into the ground and some other random bits and pieces. But this is the one that is for vlogging. Okay, so what have we got in here? We've got some nice things in here. So first of all, you'll notice pretty much everything has got, I think everything actually has got one of these on it. So I can attach my Action Cam 4, or I can attach my Insta360 X4. This is a sucker mount to go on the top of the car. I'll be honest with you, I actually prefer the magnetic mount. Imagine this, but with a magnet on it. That's actually in the car. That lives in the front of the car all the time. This is a smaller magnetic mount. Now, I'm not sure I would trust this at high winds, and it's not as strong as the other magnetic mount, but I bought it because it looked cool. And yeah, I mean, if I wanted to have 2 cameras magnetically attached, I suppose I could. This is a magnetic mount for the Pocket 3. You open that there. You slide the Pocket 3 in there. You can still access the buttons, and then I could say, clip this to my fridge, for example, and do a video. Yeah. This is a similar thing, but with the GoPro style fingers. So I could attach this to, essentially I could unscrew this, take this out and attach that into there, and give me maximum flexibility to mount this wherever I wanted. That's just a base for the suction mount. I've got another suction mount here. I actually forgot that I'd bought one, so I've got two. So yeah, I could in theory attach 3 cameras to the roof of my car. This is a chest mount. I've used this in one of my earliest Total Ramblings videos. I had the Action 4, excuse me. I had the Action 4 mounted on here with a microphone, and that just attaches around my chest. There's a point to position it on the back as well. If you were so inclined, you could just unclip this and put it back on. Flexible tripod. Now this is quite good because you can bend these, so I could in theory wrap these around, say like a post, and have this attached to the post, or if it's like uneven ground, I could use that. And these things are all kind of like just in case, right? Spare cables. Never have too many cables. This is a head mount, so I would probably wear a baseball cap, and I could attach the action cam to the top of my head if I so wanted. That's what the Insta360 X4 came with, but I don't use it. This is a backpack mount, so this goes on the strap of a backpack, and I've used this a few times, but if you don't have the backpack on properly, you'll get skewed footage. So I always just tend to sling my backpack over one shoulder. So I have used this a couple of times, but I think I'll probably use something else. We've got a second DJI extendable thingamabob. We've got a small rig kind of set up. Now this, for example, I could clamp this onto something, and then these arms will all be moved and be flexible, and I could mount a camera. So we got a couple of these kind of random sort of spare mounts with just kind of regular DJI thingamabobs on there. Oh yeah, Alice bought me this for my birthday. Actually, it was in my wish list. This is a floating handle for the Action 4. So if we ever do go to the sea or abroad or swimming, I don't have to worry about the Action 4 sinking. This will float. That's quite cool. This came with the Insta360. Basically a shoe adapter. So we can attach other devices onto the cage that you've seen for the Insta360, or on top of a regular camera. I've got lots of other cameras. I've got lots of, mirrorless cameras, so we could use that in conjunction. These are filters for this particular camera, for the Pocket 3. Spare SD card holders. More filters for the Pocket 3. Now I bought all these, but I'm going to be honest with you, I've never used them. I've never used the filters, but I could. I like to have the flexibility. In here, these are filters for the Action 4. Again, never used them, but I could. And then we've got kind of oh, what's in here? This is, yeah, I think these ones are for one of the drones, if I remember rightly. So the drones have got filters as well. Never used them. This I used to use in the early days. This is a stand, and the Pocket 3 will just pop in here, and I can just stand it up. But I found more flexible options. This comes with the Pocket 3. It doesn't have a battery in it. It simply gives you that tripod adapter. But the spare battery I've got attached to the Pocket 3 at the moment also gives you that, and I'm all about extra batteries. These are essentially spare screen protectors and things. And then, yeah, just more of the same essentially. So if the screen protectors ever fail or get broken or whatever, I've got plenty of spares. Spare screw, another spare filter. I think that's the wide angle filter. But yeah, that's the box of doom. This lives in my car. Now, the theory is, of course, is that if I'm out and about doing some vlogging, I can, and as long as I've got my car with me, I can essentially call upon any of these items in here to enhance my vlogging, if you like. I rarely actually do that because I tend to just carry the stuff with me, but it's nice to have the option. I'm all about having options, right? I'm super paranoid about having options and the potential fear of missing out. I've got my day-to-day carry bag down pat, but this stuff, it's good to have it all available in case I need it in the future. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I don't have very many subscribers, but I just thought it might be interesting to those that do subscribe to see the equipment that I use for my vlogging and what I do with it. Everything's edited on a MacBook Pro, which is a MacBook Pro from, when did I buy it? 2018. So it's getting a little bit old, but it works fine. I've got the Insta360 software on there, and I use Final Cut Pro for the main editing of the videos. So if you're interested, that's what I'm using. I only render in 1080. All the footage I shoot is usually 4K, 60 frames a second, but I don't actually have any 4K display equipment here. Never have had. Never have had. I'm not saying that because I'm proud of it. I've just never had it. So I render in 1080, which looks fine, and the files are big enough. They're over, so it's about 1 gig for every 10 minutes of footage, which is, I think, is plenty. So yeah, I hope you found this video of some interest, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode of Total Ramblings. Bye bye.
If you enjoy what I do here, although I can't think why, please remember to click the like button, smash that subscribe button, and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I post a new video. You might also want to check out my website, www.worldsbestestpoet.com, if you fancy a laugh.